the Year of the Elephant, a story of divine protection and the birth of a messenger. A shadow over Mecca. The desert wind howled as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the city of Mecca. In the heart of this sacred land stood the Kaaba, a sanctuary that had existed for centuries, built by Prophet Abraham, and his son Ishmael. Mecca was a city of merchants and travelers, a meeting point for different tribes. But above all, it was a holy city, where people from across Arabia came to worship at the Kaaba. Yet, on this particular year, something ominous was approaching, a force that would shake the very foundations of Mecca. The year was 570 CE. It would later be known as the Year of the Elephant, the year when an army came to destroy the Kaaba but was stopped by an act of divine intervention. And it was in this very year that a child was born, a child who would change the course of history forever. Abraha's ambition, the Elephant Army. Marches far away in Yemen, a powerful ruler named Abraha watched with jealousy as caravans traveled to Mecca for pilgrimage. Abraha was the governor of Yemen under the rule of the Christian kingdom of Aksum, modern-day Ethiopia. He wanted to make Yemen the religious center of Arabia, so he built a grand cathedral in Sana'a, hoping to attract pilgrims. But no matter how magnificent his cathedral was, the people ignored it. They continued to travel to Mecca, to the Kaaba, which they considered sacred. Abraha's pride turned into rage. "If they will not come to me," he declared, "then I shall destroy the Kaaba." And so he gathered a massive army, unlike anything Arabia had ever seen. Warriors from Yemen, Ethiopia, and beyond, armed with swords, spears, and shields. But at the center of his army was his greatest weapon, a war elephant named Mahmud. This was no ordinary elephant. It was enormous, towering over men and horses alike. Its tusks were sharp, its skin thick like armor. Abraha was certain that with Mahmud leading the charge, nothing could stand in his way. And so, the army marched north, leaving behind a trail of dust, destruction, and fear. Mecca trembles. The people flee. As news of the approaching army spread, the people of Mecca were terrified. They had no army. They had no weapons to fight an invading force. Their leader at the time was Abdul Muttalib, a man known for his wisdom and leadership. He was the grandfather of the child who would later become Prophet Muhammad. Instead of preparing for war, Abdul Muttalib took a different approach. "This is the house of Allah," he told the people, referring to the Kaaba. "He will protect it." With that, the people of Mecca fled to the mountains, leaving their city behind. The Kaaba stood alone, awaiting its fate. The divine intervention, birds from the heavens. Abraha's army arrived at the outskirts of Mecca. He ordered Mahmud, the great war elephant, to move forward. But something unexpected happened. Mahmud refused to move. No matter how hard the soldiers pulled, pushed, or struck the elephant, it simply knelt down and would not advance toward the Kaaba. Then the sky darkened. A distant sound filled the air, a fluttering like the beating of 1,000 wings. Suddenly, out of nowhere, flocks of birds appeared. These were not ordinary birds. Each one carried small stones as hard as steel, gripping them in their claws and beaks. And then, as if guided by an unseen force, the birds released their stones. The sky rained down destruction. The stones struck Abraha's soldiers with deadly precision. One by one they fell, struck by what seemed to be simple pebbles, yet they tore through armor, flesh, and bone. Panic spread through the ranks. Soldiers screamed, horses reared. And then, in the chaos, Abraha himself was struck. His army, once so mighty, was now in ruins. The survivors turned and fled, leaving their war elephant behind. Abraha, wounded and humiliated, retreated back to Yemen. He would not live much longer. The Kaaba was untouched, Mecca was saved, and the people who had feared for their city now returned, witnessing with their own eyes a miracle from Allah, the birth of a messenger. While this great event unfolded in a small house in Mecca, a woman named Amina was experiencing a miracle of her own. She was about to give birth, and on that blessed night, under the watchful stars, a child entered the world, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. It is said that at the moment of his birth, a light shone from Amina's womb, illuminating the lands as far as Syria. The fires of Persia, which had burned for 1,000 years, suddenly extinguished. The palaces of Rome and Persia trembled, as if the world knew that a great change was coming. Abdul Muttalib, his grandfather, held the baby in his arms and named him Muhammad, meaning the praised one. And so, in the same year that Allah protected the Kaaba from destruction, he sent into the world his final messenger, a child, born in the very city that was saved, a city that would soon become the center of a new faith. The legacy of the Year of the Elephant. This story is not just about a failed invasion. It is about faith, the belief that Allah protects what is sacred. It is about destiny, the understanding that Muhammad's birth was not a coincidence, but a sign that his mission was divinely ordained. And it is about remembrance, because today, every Muslim knows the words of Surah Al-Fil, the elephant, which tells the story of Abraha's defeat. Have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant? Did he not make their plot go astray? And he sent against them flocks of birds, striking them with stones of baked clay, making them like eaten-up straw. Quran 105, 1-5. This was the year that the world changed. The Kaaba remained standing. A child was born, and soon the message of Islam would begin. This was the beginning of the story, the first chapter of something much greater. A child was born into a world that was about to be transformed. This is the story of the Year of the Elephant. And this is the story of how Allah protected his house and sent his final messenger to guide humanity.